It's hotter than about 40 hells today, but I know a lot of you change your own motorcycle tires. You've done it with spoons, you've done it with zip ties. This is the Harbor Freight motorcycle tire changer. It works. You've got to do a little work to it. The bar that comes with the stand for this thing is a piece of junk, and it will destroy your rims. So I've made my own bar using the plastic head off a professional tire machine. I'll show you that, and it's relatively expensive. I think the plastic head was $18, something like that. And with this, I made a modification to the jaws so that they actually grip the rim, because with the straight jaws, the way it comes, when you're trying to lift the tire, it was popping it up. The whole rim, the whole tire, everything would come up out the mount. So I'll give you a close-up look of the modifications I did to the mounts. We'll look at the wrench, and then I actually have mine mounted in a vise. It was an extra $45 for the car tire changer that this sits on top of. I've got a vise that has like a pipe clamp in it, and the head swivels. So I went ahead and swiveled the head, mounted this in it. It's not the best solution. Even if I had went with the $45 solution, it still needs to be mounted somewhere you can twist it. This one's mounted to my workbench, which also has a mini mill on the end. It's got a bunch of weight. It's not going to move my workbench. So let's get some close-up looks at this, and then we'll pull a tire apart. Alright, here you can see how I've modified the teeth. I heated them up and bent them over so they actually hook around the inside of the rim. And I did that to each one of the teeth, back here. And then I sprayed them with some rubberized tool coat, which it's holding up on the points that contact the rim, but it looks like the backside's chipping a little bit. So that's the mods that I actually made to this. You can see it's mounted in my vise. Alright, I'll mount a tire up real quick, and then we'll have an introduction to my tire tool and pop some beads. Alright, here you can actually see the hook coming up underneath the bottom bead and wrapping around the rim. It makes the tire really secure. That way it doesn't spin or lift up on you if you try to pull up on the bead. Alright, this is my DIY tire tool. This right here is the plastic head off a professional tire mounter dismounter. And what I did was I traced the outline onto some quarter plate, drilled out the holes so that I could run the bolts through, secure it, and then I used a piece of heavy wall 1-inch tubing, welded that to the plate. So now I actually have a head that won't scratch the rim. I made mine a little too long for working in here in my garage. I think I kind of fight it against my wall, so I might trim a little bit off mine. The effort really, it's not really hard to take it on and off. Doesn't really require much strength. It's more technique than anything. So, alright, let's get this tire off. Alright, to use this tire tool, when you dismount, you pull the bead up with a tire spoon onto this side, and then you go this way. If you go this way, the bead won't come off. It'll cockeye, and this will pull the bead up, and then this will push the bead back down. Now when you go to put it back on, you go this way, because this will push the bead down, and this will continuously push the bead down. So we'll show you that real quick. And you spin one way for on, one way for off. So, all right. Got our pole. Now the center of this BMW tire is actually too small for this rod to go through, but it doesn't seem to be a problem. Now, in order to get a full spin, I'm going to start back here. That way, when I spin it, I can end on the other side and get the whole thing up. Make sure you're on the right side of the bar so that you have the leverage. So that when you pull, it's pivoting on this in the direction you're pulling. Alright, this is a cheapy, I think I've seen it like $3 at Harbor Freight. It's got a little spoon hooky end. That's the first end I'll use. I'll go up underneath the bead and I'll pull it over top of this lip right here. Bye. Alright, see how that popped up? Got the spoon right here. You can see the one red portion is right here. Alright, I'll give you a little close-up of it. Okay, see I took the tire spoon and it's got this little spot right here and it kind of jams it against the rim. Pull the bead up, your spoon will come out on its own. And see how this kind of kicks up? If you go this direction with it, this will pull it up, this will push it right back down. You got to go this way when you're dismounting. You go this way when you're mounting. So I'm going to put you back on the tripod. We'll spin this off real quick. I keep my hand on the head of the tire spoon tool thing. Just one, I don't want this flying and hitting me in the face. And two, I can keep this keep a little pressure, keep it against the bead, or the bead of the tire or the rim. Alright, just like that, no effort, tire spoon popped right out on its own. This is still in here. If you decide that you don't want to take off the bottom bead, you're gonna have a heck of a time getting this out. You got to wrench and twist it and fight it off. Now we're gonna do the exact same thing that we just did, except we're gonna do it with the bottom side bead, and we're gonna pull it back over using the spoon. We want to reset our tool so that we can be able to get a full rotation out of it. So when you go ahead and you pull the bottom bead over the tire tool, make sure that you're in a position where you can actually get a spin on it. So make sure you reset your tool. Alright, tool's back in the position we started in, and now we'll go after grabbing this bottom bead. Make sure you're on the tool when you grab it. That way, when you leverage it back, you actually leverage it up onto the tool. Yeah, you can kind of see right there how tire spoon, I mean, it's in a little deep, but it is what it is. And it's been pulled up on here. You've got your tool right in there. And now we'll spin it around and we'll pop the rest of this bead off. Alright, we got it set. Do the exact same thing we did with the top bead with the bottom bead. So, just take it. Off. That's real time. Just like that. There's the tool. Now we'll go ahead and get this put back on. Now, I guess I should get some tire lubricant or something in order to kind of get this bead back down. But I'm just going to use my spoon to get the first bead going. Some of you can push your beads down. You know, it's not a problem. This particular tire, I've had it on and off a couple times, and it wants to be just a little bit of a bear, but it's not too bad. Small ones. Alright, bottom bead's on. So, as I make a disaster cranking noises. Alright, so the bottom bead's on. Now we're going to use this tool to get the top bead in. Now we have to, remember we got to push in this direction. So when we set the tool up, we want to move our pivot point. The other time our pivot point was on this side. This time our pivot point is going to be on this side. We went from this side to this side because now we're going this way instead of the other way. We still want to make sure we have our bar as far back as we can get it. And then we just kind of, you want to get a little bit of the bead on there and just get the tool in. Alright? Once you get the tool started, just kind of keep pressure on the head. Boom. Real time. Tire went on, tire went off. What was that? Less than 3 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, because I'm talking. Get yourself an actual tool and you won't chew your rims up. I went through a couple iterations trying to build my own tool before I just said the heck with it and bought a proper tool head. Yeah, so I made this one and I cut up one of Little Mama's cutting boards and kind of routed out the back of it a little bit so that it would fit on all nice and whatnot. And I had 2 pieces and leverage it in and spin it, but it wasn't wide enough. Every time I went to spin it, it would twist. It wasn't chewing the rim up. The little poly cutting board helped, but there was no width to this and it twisted. It did get in real good. This is a real nice thin head and it was able to get in and leverage off, but that didn't work out so well. And I cut up a cutting board for no good reason. So the second iteration was the one with the proper tire machine tool head. Took maybe 10 minutes to build. Just a quick cut off of a piece of flat stock and then welded that 1-inch tubing on it. So there's your improvements for the Harbor Freight motorcycle tire changer and a way to make your own tire changing tool. So tidbit for the day.